It is on Thursday, January 30th, 2025, and it is 5 p.m. I would ask Callie to note roll call, and I would ask Jim to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight's agenda is simply item 4, which is the listening session regarding the discontinuance of adding fluoride to the Village of DeForest water system. I'm going to give a brief opening statement, and then we will begin hearing from those people who want to speak. In November of 2024, the Village Board and the Public Services Committee were made aware of the chemical pumps in wells number 2, 3, and 4, that they were beginning to show signs of deterioration and possible failure. In assessing this situation, staff recommended that we remove fluoride from the water, and thus we would no longer need the pumps. This issue has brought out lots of strong feelings regarding continuing fluoride and discontinuing fluoride in the DeForest water system. This matter was referred to the Public Services Committee on November 9th, and on November 19th, the Village Board postponed the matter until the second meeting in January. I note that during the November 19th meeting and the January 21st meeting, residents and other concerned about this issue appeared before the board to express their opinions and before the committee. The board decided to find ways to secure additional input from residents. We have done that through comments on Engage DeForest, this listening session, and emails. Tonight, we are holding a listening session for the primary purpose of hearing from residents. We will get comments using the rules for public hearings. This means that in order to comment, each member of the public, either in person or on Zoom, must complete an appearance form. These forms are available on the table in the hallway or on the village website. Your name will be called from these sheets, and we will alternate those who support fluoride and those who want it discontinued as we call your names. When you speak, you'll need to identify your name and address. And if you are affiliated with an organization, it would be nice if you would let us know. You will have 5 minutes to speak. A timer will be kept by the village clerk, and the timer will be visible on the screens found around the room. If any board members wish to appear, I would ask that you complete an appearance form and go to the appearance table to speak. I know that this issue has been emotionally charged, and tonight I will be rigid in not allowing anyone to not be civil. There will be no name calling, no heckling, no foul language, and no interruptions. If there are any problems, we will ask that individual to leave the session. I also ask that we turn off cell phones and we limit any conversation between one another. Sort of the rules of the classroom from when we were kids. If you have any questions, there's a number of staff around the area that can be helpful. Judd Blau, our Public Works Director, Kelly Lundgren, our village clerk, I almost called you Stacy and I know better, Reese, who is Public Works and Recreation, but is here to help. And Stacy, I think, is in the hall. And Greg Hall is in the overflow room. So there's a number of people around that can help you with any questions or issues or problems. So feel free to ask them. As soon as I get the sheets, I will begin calling people to speak. Do you have?
Joel. That's going to get.
Okay, thank you.
Folders, the chain.
Give that to her. Okay. My granddaughter picked the color of our folders for tonight, so pink and purple, yes. All right, we will begin with folks who have registered and want to speak. The first one I have in this folder is Jennifer McFarland. Yes, you may.
Just go? Oh, sorry. Okay, my name is Jennifer McFarlane. My address is 210 North Main Street, Suite 202, DeForest.
You may have to kind of make love to the microphone. It's really hard to hear people.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit nervous too. There's a lot of you in
Don't be
here.
nervous. We're pretty.
Okay, okay. All right, so I can start? All right. I want to start by saying that I chose to share my business address instead of my home because there is a group of people that are not being called out on their actions whom I fear having my personal information. These people are resorting to bullying and personal attacks in attempts to silence opposing views. The site, Engage DeForest, that was put up for the village to share their perspective was censored, not allowing the proper name of the compound chemical hydrofluorosilicic acid. It also allowed bullying and personal attacks to be made on those that shared their views. Renaming hydrofluorosilicic acid has led to a misunderstanding. This is a compound chemical made up of multiple chemicals. Some of the chemicals in hydrofluorosilicic acid are mercury, lead, and arsenic. I have never been tested for the levels of any of those chemicals in my body to know if they are safe. Upon researching the safe levels of mercury, lead, and arsenic for an infant, it is 0, posing serious health risks even in very small doses. We are endangering our village's young, and I feel if more village members really understood we cannot safely feed our babies the village water, they would want it removed also. In researching, I found that there are many areas around us that do not use hydrofluorosilicic acid in their water treatment. Dane, East Bristol, Marshall, Windsor North, Arlington, Harmony Grove, Harmony Manor, Lodi, Partyville, Wyacina, and many of the Madison communities. There has been a concern that people with lower income levels would be unable to access fluoride should they desire it. Our wonderful school district provides cleanings and fluoride treatment to low-income children twice a year. The rest would be in toothpaste, which the science showed topical application is much safer and more effective. Countries like Finland, Cuba, Germany, and Canada saw a decrease in cavities after removing fluoride from their water. In closing, I would like to say I was taught to debate by the late Jan Williams. It must always include integrity. It is okay to disagree. It is not okay to bully. Our school district has a zero tolerance policy for bullying, and we as adults must lead by example. There is no more neutrality in this world. You either have to be part of the solution or you are going to be part of the problem. Eldridge Cleaver. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. I received a note that said that people are confused if they're for or against. How do they express that? The resolution that is going to be before us on Tuesday night is for removal. So if you vote yes, or if you say you're for it, you could be perceived to be for removal, or you would be perceived. So if you're, it's a little bit confusing. So we'll have to think about that and help you get clarified. And as a board, we're going to have to think about that when we vote. So if we vote no, we're for keeping, and if we vote yes, we're for stopping. All right. So 2 additional ones. Go on this side. So the next one up is Chris McDonald.
Ready on? Got it. Thought I was gonna get 3 minutes, so. Good morning, my name is Chris McDonald. I live at 4000 Longfellow Court in DeForest. My background is as an engineer, but I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of my family and my 2 young daughters who go to school in the district. And I do not support removing fluoride from our water. I recognize that this has been a tough topic for the board to consider, and I appreciate that the trustees and the PSC have had 4 lengthy meetings to hear from both sides of this issue. It's clear to me from the response that not everybody in the community felt they had a chance to weigh in, so thank you for scheduling this listening session. I'm concerned about the information and the studies that have been presented to this board and the risk involved with who is interpreting this information. I am not an expert at interpreting scientific studies about fluoride, and to my knowledge, nobody on the board is either. It's not appropriate for me to do my own research. Frankly, every time another 100-page study is thrown out, feels like I'm getting a homework assignment that I didn't ask for. We rely on the guidance and opinion of experts daily. The Departments of Health in Dane County, Wisconsin, the U.S. Public Health, the World Health Organization, the ADA, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the CDC, all endorse optimally fluoridated water. In a 2022 report, the CDC indicated 84% of Wisconsinites on community water systems have fluoride in their water. 84% of people on community water systems and fluoride have fluoride in their water. And I'm proud that DeForest is one of them. Many otherwise good things taken at the wrong dose can be dangerous. It's often said that the toxicity is in the dosage. I was satisfied to hear that our village tests the amount of fluoride in our water daily. I appreciate Public Services bringing up the need to service and replace our pumps to ensure our equipment is kept in good working order. I applaud our village president saying the decision to continue fluoridating water will not be made over the cost of a pump. And we should ensure that our village employees have the correct training, personal protective equipment, and facilities so that they can be safe when they fluoridate our water. Whatever decision is made, some of us have the resources to ensure we'll maintain proper dental health, but not everyone. Dr. Patrick Teep, a Wisconsin dentist, spoke to the PSC in December about the staggering difference in the amount of tooth decay he's seen in non-fluoridated Wisconsin communities in our state. And any decision this board makes will set the tone for future discussions at the village level. Proponents of ending water fluoridation are asking this board to vote against the guidance of the public health experts we trust. That is dangerous. Please vote to follow the guidance of public health experts and keep fluoride in our water. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Sheila Howe.
Thank you for having this discussion with the community. I want to appreciate the ability to share my opinion.
I'm sorry, could you please state your name and
Oh.
address for the record, and then you can begin
Sorry,
your
I
talk.
forgot.
That's okay.
I'm Sheila Howe. I live at 324 Market Street, DeForest. This is a beautiful issue for our community to come together on. Clean water. We drink it, our children drink it, our pets drink it. We bathe and shower in it. We water our plants in it, we cook with it, we clean with it. So thank you again for bringing this. As many of the new studies and research have been published lately, they suggest that the amount of fluoride delivered in our homes is much more than the CDC recommends. We have no way to measure the fluoride amounts that we are taking in daily between our water, our toothpaste, and foods that carry fluoride. The U.S. National Toxicology Program states that bottle-fed infants receive 70 times more fluoride than breastfed infants. Infants under 6 months old should not consume more than 0.01 milligrams of fluoride per day. They should also take 0 supplements. In these new studies, they are showing that it leads to lower IQs. The main fluoride chemical added to the water in our village is called hydrofluorosilicic acid. It is an industrial byproduct from the phosphate fertilizer industry. When we remove this, there will still be regular natural fluoride in our water. Please watch our Director of Public Services, Judd Blau, make his presentation where he recommended to the board that we remove it while we go over the studies and find out more information. He did this on 11/19. It starts at 2 minutes or 2 hours, 25 minutes. It is on YouTube. So hydrofluoric acid is what they're discussing being removed from the water supply. When this is removed, you will still have fluoride in the water. Hydrofluorosilicic acid contains man-made fluoride, lead, arsenic, heavy metals, and iodide. Do you want this in your water? I don't. It's much easier to supplement fluoride than it is to remove the chemicals in the water. We should have the choice to drink pure, clean water and then to supplement if necessary. If only 40% of the community don't want it, we should not be forced. The concerns about the lower income people in the community not getting the right amount of fluoride, a lot of low income people can't afford the reverse osmosis system to filter it out. And if we have to buy bottled water, we still bathe in it. Our skin is our largest organ, and we absorb that every day. So we're down to 3 basic issues. The new safety studies that are showing harmful effects to children. And if there are any bit of truth to those studies, we should stop at 100%. The next issue is that some people want pure water with no hydrofluorosilicic acid in it. And the third issue is the dangerous working conditions putting our employees at risk when they're working with this chemical. So if you vote to take it out, you can always put it back in the future if this proves false, if there's a better way. If you vote to leave it in and it does damage, we cannot reverse the damage. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Sheila. Okay, next up is Becky DuBois, I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Name and address.
Hi, I'm Becky DuBois. I live at 317 Sunset Drive. I have a daycare that I've had in town here for 33 years. So my focus is always on the kids, and it's always on what is good for them. And I have enough paperwork through the state to choke a horse. On that, they want the kids to have fluoride water. That's a very important thing for the fluoride to come from. Is it city water? Is it well water? All of the forms from the doctors. Do they have fluoride? This is a thing that is mandated by the state for us. Does that make it perfect? No, but it's something that they are requiring, and they're requiring of us. Our kids have grown up in this town. We've always had fluoride in the water. And I can say that we've lost a few fish along the way because we've always had fish tanks. And we could tell when something was going on with the water in town because the fish would die. And then a month or two later, we'd get a letter that would say, hey, by the way, we were flushing the systems or whatever, and if you noticed water issues, this is why. And it's like, well, that's why the fish died. I've never lost a kid yet. And I think it's very important that they have the fluoride for their teeth. I can't believe that we as people in the village and you as the heads of the village haven't been planning all along for if these pumps go out. We knew that there was going to have to be maintenance on these wells all along. And as we acquire new wells or we put in new wells, we need to know that there's going to be maintenance on those too, just like with your car, with your house, with your plumbing. And taking the fluoride out now isn't going to give us pure water. We still have the same pipes that we've had in our house for the last 50 years or 60 years or 100 years for some of these houses. So thinking that if we switch the magic button tomorrow and not have fluoride, that our water's going to be pure, that's a pipe dream. That's not going to be the way it is. So I know for my job and for my family and for my grandkids that I feel the fluoride in the water needs to stay. And so that is my opinion on it.
Thank you.
All right?
All right, thank you. How about Emily Wade or Wadey? I'm sorry, if I misspell anyone's name, just correct it when you get up, please.
That's quite all right. I can barely pronounce my own last name. So I am Emily Wade. I live at 4400 Single Way in DeForest. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am here as a concerned resident and an advocate for public health to urge you to continue fluoridating our water supply. Fluoridation is a simple, cost-effective, and scientifically proven method to reduce cavities and improve oral health of all ages. For many in our community, our fluoridated water may be their main line of defense against tooth decay. And I believe that they deserve a chance at healthy teeth and oral health. Fluoride has been shown to reduce the rate of cavities by up to 25%. I certainly wish that I had grown up with fluoridated water. Fluoride activists have descended upon our village and tried to make changes without the public knowledge. And unfortunately, our board members nearly let them. The science that they use to justify their plight simply does not inform us about the levels of fluoride in our water. In fact, the reviews that these fluoride activists cite are assessing responses to fluoride levels 10 and more times more than our 0.7 milligrams per liter that we're supposed to have in our water. And as has been stated before here in this meeting, anything at a high enough dosage can be toxic, even plain water. But in these studies, even at those extremely high fluoride levels, the associations between cognition or IQ are not statistically significant, which means that they should not be used to make decisions. In fact, the conclusions of these papers state exactly that the findings from these studies are not to be used to make public health decisions. Assuming that these findings from these studies are going to tell us what results from our water is about like expecting that throwing a rock is going to have the same amount of damage as a bullet coming out of a rifle. If fluoridation of water reduced IQ and 70% of water in America contains fluoride, how can we explain then the 3 to 5 point increase in IQ each decade over the last century. It doesn't make sense. The community of DeForest has shared their opinions with this village board. Overwhelmingly, your constituents want to keep our water fluoridated. As you have stated, 75% of the emails that you've received have been in favor of keeping fluoridation in our water. On the public forum, 77% of comments were pro-fluoridation. DeForest should not be a place where baseless theories are tested to see what happens. Do not throw away decades of research because of the fear-mongering of fluoride activists that don't even live in our community. Your duty lies here with the village of DeForest. Thank you.
One clarified question for board members.
Thank you for coming, Emily. I've never heard of that street in DeForest. We're adding streets daily. Is that?
Okay, yeah, so I've actually heard specific stories of you coming to people's homes. I do live in DeForest, and whether my accent says so or not, I do live here. I choose to live here. And so please.
I'm just, excuse me, I'm just want to clarify.
Single
If
way.
it's DeForest
Look
or
up,
Windsor.
you can look up my name. You can, I know that you know how to look on Access Dane and look up where I live. I live in DeForest. I drink the water here. I pay taxes here. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You've actually friended me on Facebook, so you should be able to find me. You know my name.
Okay, let's go on. Chris Comer. Chris, is it Kramer or Comer?
It's Cammer.
See, I was wrong in both counts.
It's all right. It's all right. I got good news for everybody. Good news. I got the solution. It's going to make everybody happy. So I'm Chris Cammer. I live in Madison, Wisconsin. I've been a dentist a long time. I wonder if it's been 40 years. Probably a long time.
Can you give us your address?
Yes.
That's the board, not the audience.
Sure. Okay. 4809 Sherwood Road in Madison, Wisconsin. This is the fourth time I think I've addressed the board, so I really do want to talk to the concerned citizens, but I think they can hear me, so that's good too.
I hear you.
Okay. I'm going to break it down right now. This is what really matters here. Tooth decay is the most out of control disease of all diseases. We know that. It's out of control. For 100 years, it's been out of control. Fluoridated water or not, we have, as a profession, have not been able to get tooth decay under control, okay? So I'm not, until now. And here's how we're gonna do it. And here's how we're gonna make everybody in the room happy, okay? I guess I was assuming like what would happen when DeForest finally removes the fluoride from their water supply, if they do. And dentists will say, well, if you remove the fluoride from the water, you're gonna have a 25% increase in tooth decay. So of course, dentists will want to support community water fluoridation because it'll reach the most vulnerable, and it's an easy way to get 25% less cavities. Okay, it's like instead of getting 8 cavities, now you're only going to get 6. Okay, now to me, that's not good enough. Why are we so excited about 25% reduction in decay? That's not good enough. We have ways that are even better than that. So it's unacceptable because there's a better way to prevent and halt tooth decay. There's a better medicine called silver diamine fluoride. It's topically applied. Everyone agrees topical is more effective than consuming it. There's no systemic uptake when you apply it topically. And you combine that with a varnish, and you've got 96% reduction of cavities risk, right? Compare that to 25%. So it's 4 times better. So I'm talking like, well, whether you keep the fluoride in or you take it out, let's get serious about getting tooth decay under control. Let's attack it with some very, very simple, non-invasive ways. The American Dental Association recommends and prioritizes this no-drill SDF, silver diamine fluoride care. It's paid for fully by the state. The state wants kids to get this care. They'll pay for it. It can be delivered to them where they are in schools. So I'm sure the underserved still have to go to school. Let's get into the schools and deliver it there. There are fluoride programs that go, topical fluorides that go into the school. We can use this medicine, which is it's like topical fluoride on steroids. But once again, it's not taken up systemically. There's no evidence. It's topical. You paint it on. Doesn't go into your body. It's paid for by the state. I mentioned that. The state of Oregon had hygienists deliver this care to kids age 5 and under, and they reduced child hospital visits under general dental anesthesia by 75%. Does this work? You bet it does. And it keeps kids out of the hospital. Once again, fluoride in the water or no fluoride in the water, kids are still going into the hospital under sedation. We got to stop that, and we know how to stop it. Pop-up clinics can deliver this care if we can't, to the rest of the community, if they're not in schools. I've treated hundreds of kids in Bolivia with some of the most extreme instances of decay, and we've halted decay and reduced tooth pain, and SDF works. It's amazing. So if DeForest wants the best solution that will satisfy both sides, and I challenge everybody in the room, tell me how this doesn't satisfy what you're lobbying for. We can make history with this powerful, novel approach. I'll help DeForest make this happen. I'll work with you to set this up in your town, and then supply. And then if you remove the fluoride from your water supply, you could have 4 times the preventive protective impact with this SDF topical paint-on medicine that is kind, humane, no drills, no shots, simple. And the rest of the country will call it the DeForest Plan. And as other cities grapple with this issue, I wish everybody would let's get down to business here. The problem is tooth decay is out of control. And that's, like I said, the most common disease on the planet, certainly in this country. And all this discussion about, well, should we put fluoride in the water or shouldn't we put fluoride in the water? It's just, leave it in, it's not enough. You got to do more. And then if you take it out, people that don't want fluoride in, they're great. They don't have to have it. And let's make an effort to get it to the underserved. Let's do it in the schools. It's the state will pay for it. Everybody can have the topical application, and then nobody's forced to have it if they don't want it. But we're going to have to get aggressive. We're going to have to get aggressive with this preventive care. And that's, if anybody wants a copy of what I have to say, I've got flyers. So thank you for this opportunity. And thank you, concerned citizens, for being here and expressing your views. And I swear this will make everybody happy. If I said it too fast, you don't understand it, I got copies of it here.
Give a copy to them. We'll make sure the board gets it.
The board's got it. They've already gotten it twice. I want these people to have this.
Well, then that's
I'll give you.
to you to distribute to them.
Yeah, okay, so I'll give you some for the board, but I've already given it to all, so thank you for putting up with me. Appreciate it. This is the answer. Thank you.
Okay, Janelle Wolf. Okay. Also, do we know if there's people online in Zoom who want to speak?
Notice from people that were online.
Okay.
But I don't know if she. Oh. Yes.
Okay.
We do have a form for work.
Sorry, Janelle, I just one housekeeping matter first. If anybody on Zoom wants to speak, please put up your hand on your screens. So not your hand, but the hand that comes with Zoom, so that we know who you are, and I don't want to miss you. So we will look for your hands pretty soon. Sure.
I've been told in the past that people on Zoom might not know where their hand is. You need to go down to the bottom of the screen and hit reactions to be able to put your hand up. So look for reaction if you could, and then look for raising your hand.
Thank you, Jim. I don't know did everyone hear that? You want to look for a reaction on the bottom of your screen. Very good. Morgan found it. And then click on the hand. Good. Then I'll be able to find you. All right, Janelle, sorry for that.
No problem. Hi, my name is Janelle Wolf. I live at 917 Apple Blossom Drive in DeForest. My motivation for being here tonight is as a DeForest resident and mother of four, looking at what is best for my family's health. My husband and I have done our research and had discussions with our dentists and pediatricians for our children. We want to keep the fluoride in the water. As a parent that has ever watched their child go through any kind of dental procedure, you watch your child go through emotions of anxious, scared, and worried, and then followed by the pain after the procedure. Anything I can do to reduce the chances of making my children experience that, I will do, including speaking here tonight as a voice for my children to help protect their teeth by keeping the fluoride in the water. I have read the reports about fluoride at levels higher than approved in the US quantities correlate to lower IQ. What these reports fail to also look at is at the economic statuses of families in the communities, the ease of access to good public education, the ease of access to dental and medical services for treatments, and they even fail to look at genetics. I have also heard the talks about Hawaii not having fluoride in the non-US armed service communities. But what people fail to mention is that Hawaii has the worst dental health in all 50 states. I have talked to many residents in DeForest, and the same thing keeps coming up in our discussions about fluoride being correlated to lower IQs. We all say the same thing. We all grew up on fluorinated water and have done well for ourselves. Speaking for myself, I had fluorinated water all my life. In high school, I was in the National Honor Society all 4 years. Throughout my college years, I received many academic scholarships and remained on the dean's list every semester. I have 3 bachelor's degrees, an MBA, and my CPA. Stepping back and looking at the Dane County communities with fluorinated water, including DeForest High School, they all continue every year to have many students on the National Honor Society. In fact, just this fall, the DeForest High School boys cross-country team not only qualified for state, they beat out all other schools and were recognized by the State Coaches and Association as an academic all-state. To achieve this, the top 5 GPAs needed to be above a 3.4. DeForest cross-country boys team average 5 GPAs were above a 3.7. Looking at these stats within our community, it shows that reports claiming fluoride causes lower IQ don't stand up when looking at our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. All right, we're gonna pull from the screen and ask Morgan Brook to unmute and to speak. Morgan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I'm just trying to figure it out.
All right,
Can you hear me?
we can. If you'll give us your name and address, that would be good for the record.
Sure. So my name is Morgan Brook. I live at 920 Liberty Drive. And my apologies, I could not be there tonight. Our family has come down with influenza, so I'm Zooming in tonight. But I'm a dental hygienist. And for those of you who aren't aware, dental hygienists require 4 years of higher education. Rigorous classes in dental karyology, which is how cavities form, pharmacology, human anatomy and physiology, community dental health, biology, chemistry, a clinical and written board examination, and yearly requirements on continuing education for the entirety of my career. I've been an active dental provider for the past 13 years in this community, seeing an average of 8 to 10 patients per day. I see teeth all day long. I see patients all day long. That in general, underestimating the amount of patients that I see, that would be about 27,000 patients and mouths that I have seen with my own eyes over the past 13 years. Every single one of these patients I discuss oral systemic links with. I've encouraged patients like, hey, this looks suspicious. You should maybe talk to your primary care physician about that. Some of my patients with my recommendation have gotten blood draws done. They've discovered that they have diabetes, leukemia. There's oral cancer that can be found in a dental office. I've always talked to them about Carrie's risk prevention, what their diet looks like, how to access healthy foods, how to access all sorts of protection against decay. And for my patients who don't want to use fluoride, I don't require them to, but I let them know that nothing is as good as fluoride. So they can use other options, but it may not be the best quality. A lot of things that are also sold over the counter that are not fluoride, like nanohydroxyapatite, is not approved by the FDA. And you will see that on the toothpaste that it is not approved by the FDA or ADA. I have also utilized my own time, resources, and knowledge to go into our own community schools and provide young children with oral hygiene, Carrie's education, basic necessities of a toothbrush and floss, free of charge to those children. This decision to take fluoride out of our water or to leave it in will affect not only my community, but my patients and my own family members. I could sit here all day long and go over all of the scientific research and articles, everything that all of the dental community will say on fluoride safety, efficacy, and how beneficial it is to everyone in our community. But it seems that not everyone wants to hear that. And that's okay, but I'm here to let you know what will happen if fluoride is removed from the from our water. Community fluoridation, water fluoridation is more than just how you feel about it and how it affects you personally. It affects the entire community, and there will be serious repercussions if fluoride were to be removed. People that are not in the dental community may not understand fully, but there will be an increase in decay, which are cavities, which increases more emergent care, pain for the patient, time off of work and school, and more money spent for parents in general who can't then put money into their children for healthy foods, right? And education. Their kids will be missing school. There is already a huge provider shortage in dental, and there's a lack of insurance coverage and reimbursement. Wait lists are long already. Just as we have witnessed in the medical field ever since COVID, it is difficult to get into your doctor. It is difficult to get into a specialty, and that is exactly what will happen in dentistry, and it will affect everyone in the community if we remove the fluoride. You will be waiting longer for your cleanings. You will be waiting longer to get in to get a cavity filled. It's not a question of how we can keep everyone safe. This is a necessity. It needs to be there for everyone as a bottom line. Not everyone has access to healthy foods and education on how to prevent them in the future. My oath as a dental hygienist is to provide the best education and care for my patients, and that is exactly what I'm doing tonight. I have even had patients ask me to speak tonight because it will affect them. So these are my patients that are asking to keep the fluoride in the water. So I'm speaking for myself, my family, and my patients. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Morgan. Okay. Mark Berglund. He may be in the other room.
He's here.
Yeah, I saw him, yeah. On up to the table, Mark.
Thank you. Mark Berglund. All righty, 6205 Williamsburg Way. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. Thank you for the care that you have shown in addressing this issue. Thank you for the care in bringing this to the board for consideration. Thank you guys for the care that you take with the employees that you supervise, who work in all sorts of difficult situations and looking out for things. I'm here to address the board because you're going to make that decision, and this isn't a hard decision. The fluoridation of water is one of the top 10 public health breakthroughs of the 20th century. And the 20th century, we did pretty well in public health. So to make that list, That's pretty good. Fluoridation starts in Grand Rapids, Michigan, the highest per capita income in the state of Michigan, the home of Gerald Ford, the home of Betsy DeVos. This isn't, I found this online, I found that online, I found this online. Don't weigh that. Look at the overwhelming evidence that says this is one of the cheapest and most beneficial things that you can do for public health. We have a university, a world-class research university 13 miles away. If you can find somebody that will tell you take it out, if you go to UW Hospital, you go to your dentist in this community and ask them, how valuable is this? They are going to tell you. I think it's wonderful that you're taking the time to address this, to talk about what's in our water. I want to, again, lift you guys up for the great efforts you're making this week on Saltwise Week, that you are looking at the best science there. You are looking at how can we keep the public safe on the roads and in what they drink. I know you guys take that responsibility seriously. You know, perhaps we can come back a year from now and have that conversation of how to best do that as our road system evolves, as we get to 2050 and the climate has changed substantially, and do we have a community that's ready to be the population will be in 2050, to be the climate we will have? What a wonderful chance for that is. But beware of the slippery slope. The damage that has been done by anti-vaxxers in trying to find some blame for why folks are on an autism spectrum. The rabbit hole that caused, the blame, that sort of thing, that when bad science comes into the public forum, it is damaging. And the overwhelming science on this, the science for decades and decades and decades, is that fluoride is one of the easiest, one of the cheapest, and one of the most effective public health steps that a community can take. So thank you all for your consideration.
Thank you, Mark. All right. Let me go to the other folder here. Brenda Stoudemire. Chenline. Well, we'll come back to you if you're not. Oh, she's good. Okay.
So it's a hot mic.
I don't know. I don't.
I'm everyone's favorite person here tonight. Hello, my name is Brenda Stoudemire, 1278 Doty Street. Deeply held beliefs create
Doty
biases.
Street.
I'm sorry?
Doty Street.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. Sorry, I thought you guys knew. Deeply held beliefs create biases. Many are just learning about fluoride. Since my lawsuit victory, bipartisan lawmakers in 6 states introduced bills to ban fluoridation, and 6 more work to repeal mandates right now. The Florida Surgeon General, Dr. Ladapo, warned of fluoride's neuropsychiatric risks, especially for pregnant women and children, calling fluoridation a public health malpractice. Over half of Florida has stopped fluoridation, and more communities stop each week. Our local health officials were asked about fluoride levels in children's bodies and had 0 data. The US study published a few weeks ago found Black boys have the highest fluoride levels among 1,800
6 to 19-year-olds that were studied. Some children had urine fluoride levels above 4 milligrams per liter, with some exceeding 10 milligrams per liter. This is alarming because 1.5 milligrams per liter is known to be neurotoxic to the brain, lowering IQ and increasing ADHD rates. For over 80 years, fluoride interests assured the public of its safety. Industry-trained professionals glossed over concerns and focused on purported benefits. However, during my 7-year lawsuit against the EPA, neither CDC, FDA, EPA, the fluoride industry representatives, nobody could produce a single study proving fluoride safe for the brain. They also had 0 randomized controlled trials or blinded studies showing drinking fluoridated water reduces tooth decay. They've never done a study. The US faces a dental crisis, not due to fluoride deficiency, but because of mouth breathing, poor oral posture, vitamin D deficiency, frequent sugar and carb intake, and a lack of accessible dental care. The fluoride added to water is an industrial byproduct contaminated with lead, arsenic, and other junk. It's not the naturally occurring fluoride found in rivers or even the kind in dental products. You're basically thinking you're getting olive oil, but instead you're getting dirty used motor oil. I once believed the TV commercials suggesting fluoride creates healthy teeth. But my perspective changed after facing health issues and witnessing my friend Frankie die of bone cancer. A 2006 report that the US government did flagged fluoride as a cancer concern. And a Harvard study found that same year an association between fluoride exposure and osteosarcoma or bone cancer in males. Last year, a friend lost her son, a recent high school graduate, to bone cancer. And I talked to a Milwaukee dentist who believes the fluoride tablets he prescribed caused his son's bone cancer death. Fluoride has long been controversial, with evidence of harm buried under endorsements and marketing. Like lead, industry-backed experts delayed action for decades. Now, fluoride defenders ignore strong NIH-funded neurotoxicity studies done at 0.7 while relying on weak, biased research. Judge Edward Chen ruled in our case, quote, plaintiffs have proven by a preponderance of evidence that water fluoridation at levels of 0.7 milligrams per liter, the prescribed optimal dose of fluoridation in the United States, presents an unreasonable risk of injury to health. In 2024, the first US study was done in California on children to find out how fluoride impact the brain, and it found, quote, children exposed to more fluoride had more problems with emotional reactivity, somatic complaints such as headaches and stomach aches, anxiety, and symptoms linked to autism. A 2023 Canadian study concluded maternal exposure to drinking water through pregnancy, fluoridated at a level of 0.7, was associated with poor inhibitory control and cognitive flexibility, particularly in girls, suggesting a possible need to reduce maternal fluoride exposure during pregnancy. I'm going to stop there just for timing, but that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Donna Davenport. She's coming.
Okay, my name's Jenna Davenport. My address is 6672 Wolf Hollow Road, in Windsor. My name is Jenna Davenport. I'm a resident of Windsor, a mom and a nurse of 15 plus years. Thank you to the board for taking a pause and voting to hear from members of the community on this important public health matter. In my own experience as a child without fluoride in the water, I had many issues that I still have dental PTSD from. When I was old enough to drive myself to the dentist, I brought my dad home a bill for $2,000 after getting cavities filled. My parents worked very hard to provide for us, and the burden of having my parents take on a huge bill like that weighed heavily on me. It still does. They should have done something fun with that money. I wanted to provide you with some numbers for our community that may not be widely known. 12.4% of the students within the district are economically disadvantaged, equaling about 515 children. 7% of the DeForest residents are at or below the poverty line, approximately 778 people. Both of these groups would qualify for dental benefits through Badger Care. However, there are no eligible offices in Windsor and DeForest, and only one in Sun Prairie. The reimbursements these dental clinics receive from Badger Care are so low that they literally lose money providing care to these patients. So while we aren't here to fix that system, we can provide safe, effective, and low-cost fluoride to our residents via the water. The information shared to the board for this important decision was flawed. The PowerPoint created by the village listed no reasons why it would be important to provide fluoride to the residents. Documents include both an opinion piece and a study that the National Academy of Science stressed cannot be used to draw any conclusions about low fluoride exposures, such as those typically associated with drinking water. It is very concerning to me that these important health decisions were ready to be made without, number one, a well-rounded education on the topic, and number two, little to no community input. Here are the following agencies and organizations that recommend adding fluoride to the water: the CDC, American Academy of Pediatrics, US Public Health Service, National Institutes of Health, and the American Dental Association. In addition, fluoride is added to the water on almost all military bases to help support the health and readiness of military personnel. Per the Wisconsin DHS, there are grants available to cover the costs of the fluoride pumps to communities, so that should take cost out of the equation. My hope is that your decision supports both the best interest of the community and the majority of residents who strongly support keeping fluoride in the water. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Tepe, Tep.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me all? Or can you all hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I'm in my car. I'm sorry. I just learned about this on my way home. My name is Patrick, Dr. Patrick Teep. I'm a general dentist. My address is 7329 University Avenue in Middleton. I am not only represent myself as a dentist, I am a public health dentist here just recently in the last 6 months with Access Community Health Center, which one of our locations is in Sun Prairie that the last speaker just identified. 9 out of 10 of the patients I see every day are on Medicaid/Badger Care. But for 30 years, I was in private practice. In 2019, I was the president of the Wisconsin Dental Association. I have to start. I've been listening. I probably shouldn't have it listening while I'm driving in the car, but also now parked so that I can speak to all of you. But been extremely impressed by the number of residents and the information that they're bringing to all of you. I think all of you will see for yourself what your residents are looking for. But I specifically want to bring up 2 points. The first point is that you just heard from not the last speaker, but the previous comments that are intended to scare you. And that's very specific. Although they talk about a number of different studies, those studies do not show causation, meaning that when most of those studies are done, and I'm certainly not an expert of every study that was done, but on many of those studies, they don't isolate factors. So although they'll blame fluoridated water, there are many other situations or many other factors in a person's environment that will impact unfortunate health occurrences that may, whether that be osteosarcoma, whether that be any number of other issues. So I think that's important to keep in mind. The second point that I'd like to make is that fluoride in the drinking water benefits the folks that most need it and have the least ability to follow other methods of fluoride. When was the last time any of you went and bought or looked at what a tube of toothpaste was? I just looked at Woodman's just actually last weekend, and I was frankly stunned by how much a tube of toothpaste costs. It was nearly $6 for the most popular brands on the shelf. That can be very cost prohibitive for a lot of folks. Same goes for fluoride rinses. Same goes for a number of other fluoride products that, yes, we are getting more fluoride now than we did back in the 1950s when fluoridation in our water started, but it still has great benefit for those that not only need it most, but those that are also most vulnerable. The last thing I'd like to bring up, and the last person that testified mentioned it right at the very end that I'd like to reemphasize, and I did speak at one of the subcommittee hearings, and I brought this up, is that Delta Dental of Wisconsin does offer grants as well for equipment and maintenance, as far as, or more for new equipment or upgrades that are needed. So if cost becomes a significant factor for the board, I am happy to help you point in the right direction or get you in touch with the right folks through Delta Dental, that I would imagine that Windsor would be eligible for those grants to help the cost. As I recall, in the subcommittee, it was talked about $9,300. I'm going by memory. That may have been the costs involved in the upgrades necessary. So I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for your due diligence in having these additional listening sessions.
Thank you, Dr. Tepp. Can I ask that when you're not in your car, you fill out a registration form and send it to our village clerk so we have you on record?
Absolutely. I certainly can do that. I didn't bring it up as I was going, but I was driving, and that might have taken it a little too far to try to fill that out.
No, we understand and appreciate that, but we would love to get the form.
Certainly, I can do that.
And do you think that DeForest would be eligible too? You talked about Windsor, but we're DeForest.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say Windsor specifically.
I know you did.
Yes, it would be for DeForest.
Okay.
The Delta Dental grants have been around for quite some time. They're not overly publicized, but they're available to any water district in the state that you have to just apply. And the Wisconsin Dental Association would be happy to help DeForest to foster that.
Thank you for that information. Okay, we will move along then. Lindsay Frey? Thank you. Come on down, as they say on The Price is Right.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Hi, my name is Lindsay Fry, 511 Shane O'Donnell Drive. Excuse me. That's going to be hard. We had a very eloquent speaker right before me. I wanted to thank you for this opportunity. And a reminder that my father always says politics is local. And one of my New Year's resolutions was to get more involved at the local level. And here I am. I wanted to address some of the, I'm a cancer survivor. I had a bone marrow transplant about 6 years ago. And it was a very strict diet after I was out of the hospital. At no time did Carbone ever tell me I couldn't drink the water. So I just wanted to put that out there. I also wanted to address, as some other people have, about the issues with the study in Los Angeles. Some of those reports of lower IQ or cognitive decline were actually parents self-reporting. They never did a cognitive study on the children. That was my understanding. Again, I'm not an expert. So obviously I am for keeping fluoride in the water. Sorry, I should have said that to begin with. So I also noticed that we are right at the same level that the National Institute of Health says is safe. I'm very concerned that if fluoride is taken out, it's going to affect people that are on Badger Care, Medicaid, and Medicare, even when people don't have dental, usually I don't think is included with Medicare. And I love that. I was also going to say that saving $10,000 wouldn't be worth it, but it sounds like we might have an opportunity to apply for that grant, which would be great. So I wanted to, again, Those were my main issues. But thank you for your time and thank you for putting some of those resources up because I was able to look at some of those and critique them with my non-medical eyes. But please keep the fluoride in our water. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right, I'm going to murder this name. Daniel Paikonen. Aye.
Didn't say it too bad, Heikkinen. Thank you all for taking the time to chat with us, and I have a lot of notes here, but I'm not here to talk about all of the.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but can you state your name and address for the record,
Yeah,
please?
Daniel Heikkinen, 617 Shagbark Lane here in DeForest. I've been here for over a decade. Prior to that, I was in the U.S. Navy for about 8 years, and I currently work for tech in Silicon Valley, but live here in DeForest. So would you wonderful.
Well, thank you for your service and thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for your time. I'm not a scientist. I'm not here to talk about stuff I read online or shared. I just wanted to share some of my general thoughts of just about like water supply and some frustrations I've had with fluoride in the water. And mainly it's around, I'm an avid gardener. I like to grow plants for my family, fruits, vegetables, and things. And fluoride builds up in the soil and also in the plant's leaves, as I understand it. And so I also noticed like when I do have to water with city water supply, it destroys them. I think I even wrote you a note about wanting to like drill for well water to water my plants once. So that's certainly something that's concerned to me, but kind of the argument that I kind of hear is like always about benefits versus risk, and there's a lot of discord there. And I think what comes to mind for me is feels like more of a discussion around paying for a service or a utility, and I can't remove the fluoride from the water, so I don't have a choice, right? And similarly, there's a lot of arguments for putting it into the water for folks for public health, but is that like the intention of sort of this function in a city? Or is it just to supply like clean, safe water for us residents here? And that's really all I came to share, but thank you.
Thank you for taking the time. Okay, we have a statement that Brittany is going to read for Amy Anderson. Is that, okay, there you are.
My voice is terrible, I'm sorry. My name is Brittany Zeiss. I'm at 804 West Mohawk Trail in DeForest. I'm going to be reading a letter that Dr. Amy Anderson sent me to read for her on her behalf because she could not be here tonight. As a chiropractor, I work with people who have bone, joint, and nervous system related conditions. Fluoride is not only harmful to our bones, but also unnecessary for dental health. Germany and Finland both rank higher than the United States in dental health, and neither country fluoridates their water. In East Germany, when water fluoridation was discontinued, scientists expected tooth decay rates to rise. Instead, research published in Community Dentistry and Oral Epidemiology found cavity rates significantly declined in cities like Chemnitz and Plauen. The same trend was seen in the formerly fluoridated towns of Spremberg and Zittau, where cavity levels in 12-year-olds decreased after fluoridation was stopped. Finland, excuse me, saw similar results. The city of Kuopio stopped fluoridating its water, and 3 years later, no increase in cavities was reported, according to a study published in Carey's research. Even more striking, when researchers compared Kuopio to a never fluoridated Finnish town 6 years later, they found that cavity rates in both towns either remained the same or had gone down. This directly contradicts the claim that fluoridation is essential for preventing tooth decay. As a chiropractor, I see people with osteoporosis and osteoarthritis. A 2023 study by the Chinese CDC found that even low levels of fluoride in drinking water increase the risk of knee osteoarthritis. Another study shows that for every 1 milligram per liter increase in urinary fluoride, osteoarthritis risk increases by 27%. Fluoride weakens bones, making them more prone to fractures, and it does not improve dental enamel. It actually disrupts healthy tooth development. Fluoride exposure is also linked to postmenopausal osteoporosis. Research published in Advances in Techniques in Biology and Medicine found that fluoride accelerates bone loss in postmenopausal women. This is not a protective substance. It is in fact a risk factor. So if countries like Germany and Finland have better dental health after ending fluoridation, and scientific studies continue to reveal fluoride's damage to bones and joints, why are we still adding it to our water? It's time to reevaluate this outdated policy and focus on real solutions for dental and bone health. Thank you, Dr. Amy Anderson. As a DeForest resident myself with 3 young boys and an educator who's worked in our local public school system, I hear a lot of talk about the underserved community and their inability to access. And as a person who's worked in our schools, I hope that people that are concerned with our underserved community have the same aggression and looking at our school lunches and the access to the sugar that our children are given, especially the underserved community. I hope all that are concerned about our underserved walk to our school district tomorrow and ask for a change in the food access for those students especially. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone online who hasn't spoken and still wishes to speak? Johnny Johnson?
Yes, Johnny Johnson, I'm a pediatric dentist. My address is P.O. Box 2450, Chiefland, Florida. I am from the state that is heavily under attack by the folks that have heavily attacked Wisconsin in the past year, and who brag that they have stopped over 99 or 90 plus thousand people from receiving water fluoridation. Unfortunately, they do not seem to care the harm to families and especially to children's health and dental health that has been shown to absolutely occur. There's no question that it occurs. When Calgary, Alberta stopped water fluoridation for political reasons, it had nothing to do with science. In 2011, by 2019, they had a rise in cavities that surpassed the unfluoridated community of Edmonton to its north, and it was skyrocketing. Their hospitalizations to treat children under general anesthesia for full mouth rehabilitation went up 78%. So there are stories about fluoridation being stopped and cavity rates not changing. There are reasons why that is. These communities and places in Cuba as well implemented fluoride rinse programs. They stop with one thing, they do another. In Scotland, they have a program called Child Smile. They don't fluoridate their water. They use fluoride rinses and toothpaste and 4 times a year checkups for the kids. And when they're between about 5 to 7 years old, only for these kids that go to these schools. It does nothing for adults. Does nothing for those that are in institutions that can't care for themselves. It's not just about kids, it's adults. I'm a children's dentist, and I've seen over 300,000 patient visits during the time that I was actively practicing before I tore my wrist up and had to stop practicing. But now I speak on fluoridation because I cannot stand anyone to do what they did in my county. And in my county in Florida, of 1 million people, they voted out in 2011. It was a very active year for fluoridation opponents. Over 700,000 people were cut off from fluoridation simply over 4 out of 7 county commissioners who voted based on a desire to stop fluoridation. And it is a politically decided issue, just as it is in some of the states now. And I happen to belong to the party that is doing that. And I am very embarrassed to say I am. But it is a popular move right now. It is not based in science. Let me back up a little bit because I do want to talk about politics just for a second. I was free of fighting some battles here in Florida for a little bit yesterday and today, and I watched the hearings of RFK Jr. and him speaking about how he was going to be head of HHS if selected, something really interesting happened at the very end of his hearing today. RFK Jr. said that he insists that NIH-funded scientific studies be transparent. He also said that researchers who get their funds from NIH that don't show their methods is not appropriate. And he further stated that NIH should not fund studies that do not share their data. Pretty straightforward. Well, the studies you've been hearing about from Canada and the ones from California have never, ever shared their data with researchers to validate their research. Never. It's been requested over and over. Over 30 researchers around the US and in the world requested that that data be released from NIH, and the folks that are holding it in Canada would not comply. So those IQ studies, folks, are swamped and dwarfed by the positive studies that have been done and systematic reviews around the world that show that fluoridation does not affect IQ or executive function whatsoever, and that includes ADHD. Thank you to your water folks for supplying clean water in this aging infrastructure that we have. That is a tough job. Lastly, Dr. Kammer, who spoke about SDF, he is talking about something that it takes a person to touch every single person out there in our country to provide something that water fluoridation does very effectively and reduces cavities by at least 25. I'll tell you, as a pediatric dentist, over 50% of cavities that everyone in that community ever gets. I can tell you, sitting down in my chair, if you grew up with fluoridated water or not. No health issues, folks. Thank you very much for hearing this. This is wonderful.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Can you make sure to send Callie a registration form? You can find one online on our website.
I filled it out today, but if need be.
Oh, did you?
Yes, ma'am. Did you get it?
I don't believe that I received it.
Okay.
Wouldn't mind completing another one
Oh, no,
online
no.
and sending it. That'd
Yes,
be
ma'am.
great.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
We
Thanks for your
appreciate
time.
it. All right. Is that everyone online?
I believe that's all that we've received. I do have one here where the resident would like me to read her statement. 30 seconds. So many timers. This is a statement from Jennifer Parker at 706 Brook Street in DeForest. Fluoride removal from the village of DeForest water. I am concerned about the village taking action to remove the fluoride from our water without seeking feedback from the community. I am also worried that due diligence wasn't followed in researching all angles of the effects of removing fluoride. In addition to the decades-long research that says the pros of fluoride in the water far outweigh the cons from a health standpoint, removal must also be considered a con from an equity standpoint. It cannot be assumed that everyone in the community has the dental insurance necessary. That's
Okay.
the end of my time.
And the rest of that statement will be attached to the record. The rule is that if someone wants to be read, it's 30 seconds of what's submitted that gets read. Is there anyone else in the audience who has filled out a form or would like to fill out a form and speak in either this room or over in the, what is the line? Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right. Well, if there's no one else who wishes to speak, we will proceed with adjourning the meeting. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the listening.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And again, we will take this matter up for a vote on Tuesday night. So